Okay, we are doing vocab, and on this chapter we have 9 new vocabulary words that we need to get filled in. Okay, you'll probably have to pause the video to get them all written, but if not, great. If you can keep up, all the power to you. Okay, so the first word we have, I did all these words in green so you kind of could see. It's more to help me than you. If you are missing a word, fill that in too. So if for some reason you don't have this word filled in, get it filled in. Okay, cross products. Cross products are the product of the numbers on the diagonal. So it's the product of the numbers on the diagonal. And so what that means is if you have 6 over 5 equal to 12 over 10, the cross product would tell you that 6 times 10 is 60, and 5 times 12 is 60. Those are cross products. Like I said, you'll probably need to pause it to get it written down because I'm going to keep going. The next word is equivalent, which we already have written. Equivalent is right there, and it just means equal to or the same. The next word is proportion. Proportion is in your P's. Proportion is towards the back. And really, we're going to have most of our words on this page and the next page. Okay? Proportion, right here. And proportion is an equation showing that 2 ratios are equivalent. And so proportion is an equation showing that 2 ratios are equivalent. 2 ratios are equivalent or equal. And so, for example, you have 5/12 equals x over 9. And then you were solving for x to make these equivalent or these equal. Okay? So the ratio is equal to the ratio. And then you have proportional, which means this has to do with your cross products. And it means that the cross products are the same. So for example, remember our last example was 6 over 5 equals 12 over 10. And then we did our little cross products and got 60. 5 times 12 is 60. Proportional means that they are the same. 60 is equal to 60. And so those would be proportional. And then flip it over, and the next is rate. And rate is a ratio comparing 2 numbers measured in different units. Different units. We do this all the time. Okay, all the time. For example, a great one is you go 6 miles in 1 hour. And so your rate is 6 miles per hour. Okay, a rate is comparing two things in different units. So it's like miles and hours are getting compared. Those are completely opposite. Miles is a distance and hour is a time. And a rate compares them. Next you have ratio. A ratio is very similar. It's a measure or comparison of two quantities. And so an example of this may be 2 boys for 3 girls. So the ratio of boys to girls in the class is 2 to 3. Okay, like I said, they're very similar, except for this is units and quantities. But you'll hear me refer to them pretty much the same a lot of the time. Okay, also if you're not caught up on there, I'm going to show you each picture at the end to make sure you're caught up. Next is scale. Scale. Where is scale? Next page over. We have scale and scale drawing. Okay, a scale compares the measurements of a drawing to the actual. Okay? Compares, that should be a P. Compares the measurements of a drawing to the actual size. You see scales all the time, especially in construction, where they'll show you the picture and then give you the scale, which is the comparison to the actual size. And so, for example, 2 inches on the picture could represent 200 feet. Okay, so I might draw a picture of a line and say, this represents a wall. And while the line is only 2 inches, it represents 200 feet, so 1 inch would represent 100 feet. One way you see this all the time is like on a map. And then a scale drawing is used to represent objects that are too large. Too large or small, I guess. You could use small to be drawn. So, for example, you don't want to draw how big an actual house is going to be or how big a city is, and so you're going to do a scale drawing to represent it. And then next you have scale factor. And a scale factor, all the scales kind of go similarly together, is a scale up here written in the simplest form. And then we have one more word, and it's unit rate. And unit rate is the cost of one item, or the amount of one. Oh, sorry I didn't do examples on your scales. Scale drawing. An example might be blueprints for a house. And a scale factor would be, really it's all the same. I don't want to do an example for all of those when it's the same example. And a unit rate, the example is if you have $12 for 4 apples, then it's $3 per apple. Those are some expensive apples. But that's a unit rate. It's the cost of just one. And that is it for your vocabulary for this chapter. Now I'm going to go back and show you each page of your vocab so far. And if you are missing something, you need to get it filled in and make sure that you are caught up on your vocab. I'm not going to spend time talking about each one. I just want you to get to see them. And if you need to pause it, then feel free to pause it. Okay. Coefficient. Constant, cross products. You have cubed. Distributive property. Equation. You have equivalent. Expression. Integer. Like terms. Negative number, neutral number, opposite number. Perfect square. Positive number. Proportion, proportional, and quadrants. Rate, ratio, rational number, real number, and repeating decimal. Scale, scale drawing, scale factor. Square root, square slash squared, terminating decimal. And last 2 pages, unit rate, the cost of one. Variable, a whole number. X-axis, Y-axis, and one of the forgotten words is an ordered pair. And that's all the vocab we've done so far this year, so if you're not done, get caught up. Sounds great? Ship shape.